So this guy makes $10,000 a month. What does he get?
Oh, yeah, very good question. So in the relationship, that what made me feel that it's so unfair is that although he was making that, for example, I was giving him not money, but in in the household, I did everything. So I did the cooking, I did the laundry, I did the scrubbing of the toilet, the shower. So I was almost like a housemaid. On top of that, I maintain my figure. Like I'm young, but I try.
Mm-hmm.
I'll try. Naturally, I wouldn't get fat, but I still work out.
So tell me, and how old are you?
I am 36.
36. All right. So tell me a little bit about yourself and what you're looking for.
Well, I am actually a week single now. I just broke up with my boyfriend for a year. And for my next relationship, I'm looking for someone whom I don't really have to change. You know, that the person that I really want. Someone who respects me and who doesn't have to be told what to do or how to treat me. And I just really want to be treated well. Like, it's very easy for me to treat my man as a man and almost as a king when he treats me well or respects me or like talks to me in a certain manner that you like he respects you and he's proud of you.
Okay, so let's kind of back up for a second, right? You kind of gave me a little bit too much to unpack. So I'm going to ask you some questions, all right? So Cece, you said that you recently broke up. How long have you been single?
Now a week.
A week. Interesting.
Yeah.
And you also, I heard a lot of the things you said, and we're going to kind of talk through that. But you also mentioned that you wanted someone who can respect you and someone that you didn't have to feel that you were quote unquote taken care of. Is that what you were saying? Am I right or am I on the wrong track?
To be told what to do and how to treat well. Like he would know how to treat a woman.
Okay, so you want someone that you don't have to give directions on how to treat you. Okay.
Exactly.
So how long was this relationship you were in?
Well, for a year, actually.
1 year.
November of last year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So about a year. So then I guess my question to you now would be, if you guys were together for a year, at what point did you start noticing that he wasn't treating you or that you were having to give too many directions as to how you wanted to be treated? When did that whole process start with you?
Well, it actually started just a week after we met and started living together. But I noticed the big changes after a month of dating.
Okay.
It wasn't the same anymore because he's known me for years and years on social media and on another platform for contents and videos. So he's wanted me for a long time, and finally we met. And then after that, after a month, he just changed.
Okay, so when he met you, so you guys have known each other for a while. You said he's known you through social media.
Yeah.
How long is for a while? What is a while? A while to me could be 3 days, 3 weeks, 1 year. What's a while?
5 years.
5 years, okay. So if he's known you for 5, you guys started dating. How long after the 5 years did you guys start dating?
Well, we started talking at the onset of the pandemic, so that could have been 3 years after he saw me on the internet, because at the time he was in a relationship, so he wouldn't message me. Okay. So might have been about 3 years.
Okay. So you've known him 3 years and you guys dated for 1. So you've known him a total of 4.
About that,
Or
around that.
you've known him 2 years and then you guys dated for 1 and you've known him a total of 3.
A total of 3, I would say.
Total of 3. Okay. All right. Yeah, just want to make sure I get the timing right because this plays a huge part in what you're saying. Because again, remember, you mentioned you're how 36, right?
I am.
Okay. Yeah, I thought I heard you say that. So when you get to a certain point in life, right? And I say we because I'm 39, I'm going to be 40. We tend to find ourselves being in a position where we get stuck in our ways, right? We kind of want certain things and we're not willing to make adjustments based on our life experiences. So that's kind of why I'm asking these questions. So this leads me back to you, which is if you had known him for 3 years total, 2 of being friends, at what point did you start noticing those behaviors that you said, I have to now start providing this grown, and how old was this guy? I'm going to be grown.
Yeah, 19 years older than me.
Okay, good. So grown man. Okay, so I wasn't wrong. So I presume how you were now thinking, at what point in this 3-year span or 2-year span of knowing this guy, did you say, I'm starting to notice that I have to give you too much direction and I have to tell you, hey, take a step towards this direction or don't take a step towards this direction? At what point did you start noticing that?
I think halfway through that 1 year that we lived together.
Okay.
Yeah, about 6 months after we started living together.
Okay. So how quickly did you guys start living together when you started dating?
Well, because those 2 years we were just talking online because he couldn't get out of the country because of the pandemic. And once their country allowed their people to get out of the country, he flew here and right away we lived together because he stayed in my condo.
Okay.
So we started living together.
Okay. And within 6 months of him living with you, you decided his ways were a little bit too outside of your expectations, right?
Yes, that's correct.
All right. So now we'll get a chance to talk about this, but let's know a little bit more about you.
Okay.
If you wanted a relationship, what do you consider an ideal relationship? What would you want in a relationship?
In a relationship, ideally, there's number one is understanding. Like it's effortless for that person to understand me, and it's effortless for me to understand him as well. No need for so much explanation. That's the very first thing for me. So there's not going to be a frequent friction between us, and it's going to be smooth sailing most times, at the very least.
Okay.
Second thing, of course, is financial stability. Well, let's do that. Financial stability, and then after that, I think there will be less friction. And then,
so
of course,
financial stability first, right? And then understanding second.
Yeah.
This last guy, how financially stable was he?
He is financially stable. More than.
Give me an example. I mean, financially stable. Somebody who makes $1,000 a month might consider himself financially stable. So what do you call financially stable?
Well,
10,000 a month, 100,000 a month.
In dollars, I am not very sure because I didn't really ask him how much he was earning back in his country.
But you can tell how a person moves if he's a $10,000 a month guy or he's a $100,000 a month guy. I mean, I presume that's how it has, when I was, under the $10,000 a month life, you could tell. And when you get to $10,000 a month life, you become a different person. So, and when you become a $100,000 a month guy, you're a different person. So at what point did you think, would you say you classify this guy? Is it $10,000 a month, $100,000 a month, or?
Ooh, that is actually kind of tough because then again, I didn't, but I did know what he did in his country.
What did
So
he
I
do?
business. He was a supervisor in the mine for diamonds.
Okay.
So
Diamond mining, or as in, or the stores?
mining.
Mining. Okay. Yeah, they make good money. So they're blue collar guys, but they make the six, middle six figures. All right. So, what did he do when he moved to spend time with you for that 1 year? What was he doing? What was his daily life like?
Yeah, well, he really wanted to just not work anymore and just relax.
Okay.
But well, I'm not that type of person who wants to drain the savings, and so I wanted a business, and so I said we open a business, and that's what we did. But that came 3 months into the relationship. So first 3 months we're just dating, relaxing, working out together, playing sports, and then I would do my own thing and do vlogging. Yeah, it was just like real relaxed dating at first.
Okay.
And this came.
Okay. So I guess my thing is, if this guy happened to have fit all these boxes or check these boxes, because you said you needed a guy who's stable first, and then you said understanding second. Doesn't sound in any of these things that I'm asking you, this guy that you just broke up with a week ago was lacking any of this. One, financially, he seemed to have been doing well enough to have moved into a different country and started a business with you, right? And then two, you guys were able to have common goals as far as working out together, right? And spending time together. So where did things go wrong in a span of 6 months that allowed you to now feel like this is not the right person for me, and we're having this conversation a week later?
It's actually the second one, the communication part.
Okay.
Because I'm kind of straightforward. Like I will tell you what you need to know, and I'm not going to tell you anything extra because it's not necessary. I'm that kind of person. And he doesn't know how to tell things, so oftentimes I would tell him, "This is what you should have told me." So I could have understood you in 1 second, and it took me 5 minutes to understand you because you were beating around the bush. Or sometimes when we're out, he would explain things to people before asking for what he wants. And I would say, tell them you want pizza if you want pizza. Don't tell them what happened to your day, and that is why you're ordering pizza. Just tell them, give me a slice of pizza. That's the thing. That's just an example. But the root cause of my feeling that we're, I wasn't okay with the relationship was that the way he was treating me, I would always tell him not to treat me like that or not to do this to me. And it took him months before starting little bits of changes. And up until the last days of our first year, he still did things that I told him not to do.
Okay. So let me ask you this then. What were the things that he did that, or treated you, that you felt was warrant the kind of reaction that you gave, which is making it part of the reason why you guys broke up? Give me an example of what that could look like.
Yeah, well, the primary thing is like advances. I don't know if I should be mentioning this publicly, but affection to me is different from advances. And it's
advances, you mean?
Yes, physical advances. To me, show of affection is nice, and I want it, and it's lovely. But if there is a certain way of of touching that, a person, even in a relationship, doesn't appreciate.
Okay,
Like, it's,
so he touched you in a way that you weren't happy about.
yes, that is correct.
And you mean publicly, right? Because I presume if you guys are in a relationship, you're okay with those touches behind closed doors.
Behind closed doors, there's still boundaries, because I am a person, and if we're not in the bedroom and we're just doing normal things, all of a sudden, don't eat my face.
Don't what?
Don't eat my face.
Eat your face.
Yeah. I mean, you can see in a romantic way,
Okay.
but stuff like that.
I got you. Okay, so I have asked you some questions to get a foundation.
Okay.
So now I'm going to ask, or I'm going to give you my opinion, and I want to hear your thoughts on some of the things that I'm going to mention to you. So let's rewind back to the beginning. You said that when you guys first started dating, you guys, moved in within, you've known each other for 2 years, but you started, he pretty much came to visit you, and he just never left, right?
That is right.
So it was more of a first time meetup that turned into a permanent situation, or pseudo permanent, right?
Yes, it is. It is.
Good. So, is it fair to say that there was some resentment that you built in not maybe your package not arriving with what you expected it to be? Meaning, you probably had this expectation of this great package, right? I mean, you heard I work in a diamond mine. Of course, you think he makes great money. So you expect this to come with a lifestyle that probably didn't really happen. So now things that naturally should have not pushed you to make decisions probably became more irritating. Let me ask you this. If he showed up every week with a nice Louis purse, or a nice Gucci bag, or some Prada shades, or steak dinner, $300 steak dinner, a private plane somewhere, how pissed off would you be about his communication skills?
Still.
You think you would be that? You think you would be that upset if you were getting your eyes covered with quote unquote love? Do you think you care so much about the touch, if you will, or those physical advances, if he was giving you that, quote unquote lifestyle that a lot of people want to have, right? That high life. Do you think you will be as bothered about those things? I mean, that's just an honest question. Do you? Yeah. I mean, if you do, that's fair. But if not, then I understand.
Yes. Well, that's a very understandable question. And interestingly enough, well, obviously, I'm not a simple person. I wouldn't say I'm a simple person. And those things are delightful. But, well, because I didn't come from a poor family. So those things don't really blind me. And those are nice. I recognize. And of course, I want those. But I'm not a patient person. And so those things done unto me, even with those gifts, I'd still be pissed off.
Okay. So then let me ask you this then. At 36, wanting a guy that is able to take care of you financially, what kind of a dollar figure would you put on that guy? Because now let's move on from what you have, right? Let's go away from the past, because there's still things that we're going to talk about that, but I want to see how, I want to tie both in to kind of make sure that we're moving in the right direction. Mm-hmm. What would that man have to make monthly or annually for you to even consider him to be a suitable suitor for what you're looking for?
I don't know. This is the time that I don't really know what to say, honestly, because
how How expensive are you? If you had to put $1 on yourself, how expensive would it be to take care of you every month?
Take care of me.
Hair, nails,
Oh,
clothes, food, dates,
uh,
car. I mean, we can name the works. How expensive would that be?
in dollars, because well, a lifestyle in Asia is kind of cheap anyway to begin with. So I have
Sure.
no idea, but I would think 100,000 would be a little. It's not too much.
100,000 Asian or in
No,
baht or in dollars?
well, in baht, I would say 100,000 baht
Okay,
is.
which is like 4,000, like $4,000, $10,000. That's like
I
three
guess,
thousand, right? But
yeah.
that's if you were would you be opposed to living with the man outside of Asia? Would you be comfortable moving outside of your condo to, a foreign country to start a relationship?
Yes. Well, I moved out of my country. I'm from the Philippines, and I'm now
Yeah,
in.
that's right. So you have moved. So if you had to do it again, would you be comfortable doing that to a different country?
I,
Europe or okay, good. So how much would that guy have to make for you to feel like you can make that move?
well, probably the equivalent of 100,000 Thai baht in their economy.
That's only
Uh,
$3,000.
in their economy.
Oh, in
I
their
mean,
economy. So 100,000 Thai baht is like someone who makes about $1.2 million a year, or 1.2 million baht a year. So you want someone who's at least making $1 million.
well, I won, but that is not very necessary. We
Okay.
can both work together on building something.
Okay. So at least then, what would we say? What would be a number? Would we say $10,000 or would we say 3,000? Because
Is
that's a
10 comfortable?
$10,000 is not comfortable in today's economy because things are not as cheap as they used to be. But $10,000 is still what 10% of the population in the United States makes. So you're talking about the top 10% of people in the U.S. make $10,000 a month.
Well, wishful thinking. Yeah, let's go there.
Okay, so $10,000 a month. So you want a guy that makes $10,000 a month. Equivalent, if he was in Thailand, you want him to be at least making 100,000 baht or $10,000.
Mm.
But in the same breath, you also don't have any patience.
Mm.
So, what are you going to give this guy, or what does this guy get from you if he's not getting any patience, right? He can't, quote unquote, eat your face, right? Or physically touch you publicly or behind closed doors, right? Because again, I agree. You give access to your body. You're the woman. You give access to the man to be able to have your body. He doesn't get the opportunity to do that without your permission. But you have boundaries on him being able to have access to your body. You create boundaries on him being able to make mistakes. And then you also have little to no patience to dealing with this guy. So what are you going to give him? I mean, you're 36 years old. What does this guy get?
Yeah, very good. Very, very good question. But I think before I answer that, I would like to say that I give him access to my body, but there are boundaries. So that is different.
Sure, boundaries. Boundaries, no boundaries. It's still. Let me put it this way: if I told you, "Hey, I'm gonna give you a steak," okay? You can eat this steak. It's the most delicious steak you've ever had, but you can't eat half of it. You got to eat maybe about a quarter of it. And I don't care how hungry you are. I don't care if you've eaten for a month or a year, or this is the first thing you're ever going to eat. I'm going to create boundaries. And by the way, you really can't even use a fork or a knife or your hands or your mouth. But you can eat the steak, right? You're not really allowed to use your hands, your fork, a knife, your mouth, your teeth, your tongue. You can't do any of this stuff, but this steak is delicious. I want you to have it.
Yeah.
So that's what boundaries sounds like when you're in a relationship, supposedly, quote unquote, boundaries. Now, of course, like I said, there's things that he has to respect as a man, right? He can't just disrespect you, but in the same breath, there's a reason why there's exclusivity in that relationship. So go ahead.
Yeah. Except for that steak, you can use your hand, you can use your mouth. That's the difference. Your steak, you said you cannot eat with your hands, knife, fork.
Mm-hmm.
To me, there are boundaries, but let's say it's like you can use your mouth, you can use your hands, you can use your fork, whatever, but you can only eat half of it or a portion of it. Something
Oh.
like no.
Okay. So this guy makes $10,000 a month. What does he get?
Oh yeah, very good question. So in the relationship, that what made me feel that it's so unfair is that although he was making that, for example, I was giving him not money, but in in the household, I did everything. So I did the cooking, I did the laundry, I did the scrubbing of the toilet, the shower. So I was almost like a housemaid. On top of that, I maintain my figure. Like I'm young, but I try.
Mm-hmm.
I'll try. Naturally, I wouldn't get fat, but I still work out. And he knew that he was older and he was fit in his previous relationship. But with me, he didn't try and he got heavier and heavier.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, I was helping him with the business. And people don't see that. I
understand. Who was bringing in the financial? Who was bringing in the money, the dollars and cents? At the end of the day, who brought the dollars in? Who brought the money in? He did. Okay.